Hello and welcome. This is the Bookworm and I'm Anisha Chaudhary. So, in the previous video, I talked about City of Jinns by William Dalrymple as a book that you may consider reading if you want to get into non-fiction, and I said if it gets a good enough response, then maybe I'll do a few more videos on more of Dalrymple's books. So, today we're going to talk about two such books, The Age of Kali and 9 Lives. Now, you may ask, why Dalrymple again? Well, there are a number of reasons, and I guess the most important is he is a personal favorite. Like, I absolutely enjoy everything he writes and I end up recommending it a lot, so please forgive this personal bias. Now, coming to the other factors, what I think works for William Dalrymple is the fact that he really understands the subcontinent so well. Like, whether the issues be political, religious, historical, or whatever it may be, he really understands how things happen or work here, and that reflects in the way he writes. So everything that he writes is really informative and enriching, and at the same time it's very light-hearted and fun to read. So whether you have an academic background or you don't, it doesn't really matter. Everyone ends up relating to the way he writes, so I think all of his books are a fun read for everyone. That brings me to the first book, The Age of Kali. Now, this is not a novel, rather it's a collection of short essays that tell us about the different experiences that the author had while traveling the subcontinent in the 90s. And I guess this is very special because the 90s, if you ask me, were a very peculiar time. I mean, this was the decade when the Indian economy got opened up to foreign investment for the first time, and that changed the way of life pretty drastically. So that gets captured in this book. And apart from that, what I think works for the book is the sheer spectrum of topics that it covers. Like, it talks about the caste troubles in Bihar and Rajasthan, to the emergence of politicians like Lalu Prasad Yadav, to the decaying Nawabi culture of Lucknow, right down to the fast food chains of Bangalore. So it talks about all of that, and it tells you pretty much a lot of the stuff that happened in India in the 90s, and not just that. It also has essays on Pakistan, like it has essays on Imran Khan, who was still a cricketer back then and in the very early stages of his political career. So all of that combined, what happens is by the end of the book you realize that now you have quite a thorough overview regarding the societal changes that were happening in the subcontinent in the 90s, which I think is a pretty mean feat. Also, what is really unique about this book is the fact that it captures the contrasts in India. Like, ever since we are kids, we are taught that India is a land of contrasts, and this book captures that. It talks about the widows of Vrindavan to Baba Sehgal and Shobha, who existed in the same country at the same point of time, which I think is very entertaining and informative at the same time. And that kind of brings me to the second book, 9 Lives. Now, I chose this one to go with The Age of Kali for a very particular reason, which is both of them highlight the contrasts in modern day India very well. Now, how do they do that? I'll come to it in a bit, but before that, again, this is not a novel, rather it's a collection of short essays, and this one talks about religion in modern day India. Like, when I say religion in India, all of us think of India as a spiritual center with 100 religions, 1,000 sects and so on. But also today India is a very fast evolving society and a very large economy. So how do these centuries old of traditions and rituals hold up in modern day India? That's a very interesting topic, and this book talks about that through 9 characters. And by characters, I mean these are 9 monks or nuns or holy men and women from all across the subcontinent, from different faiths and sects and so on. There is the mention of a Buddhist monk who took up arms against the Chinese in 1959 in Tibet and spends the rest of his life atoning for the violence that he committed. So the different social structures and political issues and how they have seeped into their religious lives becomes quite a very important topic all throughout the book. Also, there is another essay that really caught my eye. It's about this tantric from Tarapeeth who practices with human skulls. Sounds pretty scary, but once you start talking to him, you realize that he has 2 grown sons who are settled in the US. And he says that how it's really stigmatizing being a tantric in the 21st century India, and how life was not really that easy, and he was actually considering selling off his skulls and moving to the US. So that's pretty radical. But I guess this is what this book aims to show. It aims to show the uniqueness and the contrasts that exist in India today, and this is what ties it to the Age of Kali. The Age of Kali talks about different societal contrasts, while 9 Lives talks about the contrasts in religion. So it gives you quite a thorough understanding of India as a land of contrasts in the 21st century. So that was about it, about both of these books. They are very entertaining, very engaging reads. You do not need an academic background to understand any of that. You can be a casual reader and enjoy them. It's totally okay. And the language is lucid, as it is with all of other Dalrymple's works. There is a considerable use of vernacular words, but I don't think that should be a problem to anyone. Also, the essays are pretty concise, so you should finish them in one sitting. That's not a big deal, and you can also flip through the essays pretty fast. There is no problem with the transition. So that was it about these 2 books, and I really loved them, and I would highly recommend everyone to go ahead and read them. These are weekend reads, pretty light and very entertaining and informative at the same time. So it's highly recommended. That was it for today. If you liked what you see, please hit like, subscribe and share it with your friends. This is a new channel. Also, a big shout out to Nurul Islam, Basit Akram, Angshika and Debjani Ganguly who commented on the previous video. It means a lot to me, and that was it. So do mention in the comments what are the reviews or recommendations you would like me to do. I plan to make another video on some more of Dalrymple's books, and then I'll move on to something new, but please comment below. Also, I'll put the links to both of these books in the description, so be sure to check them out. And that was it. Thanks for watching.